Bitcoin's at 86K again. Consumer confidence is going down. Without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. Grab your cup of coffee, take a sip, and let's get on with today's video. First things first, Trump. Let's pull up this article. Launched his own stablecoin, it looks like. Trump just keeps launching cryptos. And this has to do with regulatory changes that could benefit the crypto industry, as stated in the article, right? And Trump is no stranger to launching coins. Here's a World Liberty Financial, which obviously was launched by Trump. We saw them buying Ethereum pretty aggressively. And stable coins are a big part of crypto because they're obviously the ones that are tied to the dollar, pegged to the dollar, and they're not as volatile as Bitcoin, altcoins, so on and so forth. So in terms of being used for cash, or at least backed by the US dollar, they're the best bet. Backed by short-term US government treasuries, US dollar deposits, other cash equivalents. Latest way the Trump family is seeking to cash in on crypto. Yeah, right, because obviously he made money in his coins. Yeah. This guy who wrote this article is right. We're offering a digital dollar stablecoin that sovereign investors and major institutions can confidently integrate into their strategies for seamless, secure cross-border transactions. I saw Solana had some bullish news recently. Ondo is being brought up a lot. We're seeing a lot of different narratives. They're like starting to form in crypto. And when you see Trump getting more integrated, although people think he's a cancer now to crypto, it does pave the way for more adoption to take place. So that's pretty good. I also want to get into real quick before we go further down this rabbit hole, the quote of the day, which is by Wayne Dyer, rather. If you believe it will work out, you'll see opportunities. If you believe it won't, you will see obstacles. And this goes back to my frame of mind, as stated previously, that you have to see every single setback, roadblock, anything in front of you as an opportunity, whether it's to learn from it, whether it's to move past it and figure out what doesn't work, whether it's to take advantage of it. There's always a silver lining in every single setback. And right now, we'll get into the next article in a little bit. People are fearing a recession because inflation is expected to go higher because there's no timetable for Trump's tariffs as to when he's going to end them. And obviously, tariffs on China, tariffs on Mexico, tariffs on Canada are not good. Let's be honest here, they're not good. Even though we've been in a recession since 2022, and it probably ended at some point around then, even though I feel we've been in a recession now for quite a few years, if we do slip into another one, or at least a deeper one, because of the higher inflation, obviously you're going to see more prices go down to the downside. So we're going to see a Bitcoin probably hit in the 70K range again, if not way lower, if it's actually a real recession and it's announced. But we'll see what happens, right? Trump has not given us any indicator on what he's going to do yet, but obviously, I don't see him making things too bad in the near future. I think he kind of knows that consumer confidence is down. Obviously, he's going to do what he wants, but wow. So consumer confidence plummets to lowest level since January 2021. I mean, this was before the bull cycle, though, for the last bull cycle. This one ended, for those who don't know, in December 2021, or November, last week in November. So this is actually showing us that if the sentiment for consumer confidence is down now, that roughly a year from now, around the same timetable, we're going to see the end of the bull cycle again. So this is actually pretty good when it comes to an accumulation standpoint, because when consumer spending is down because people don't have strength in their dollar and they feel like they have to go to wealth preservation, they're going to sell their crypto, stocks, ETFs, all that, even their real estate probably. And they're going to move their money into their bank accounts, their high yield savings accounts, their checking accounts, their bonds. They're going to keep it in safe, risk off assets. So when that happens, which we're seeing now, we'll see later in the charts for Bitcoin and altcoins, prices go down. It creates opportunity. Understand the fact with investing. If you bought high, you have to continuously buy lower. to improve your averages, improve your profit margins, and get out faster. You can't get out fast if your averages are so high. Just keep that in mind. A lot of people have that fallacy in their head where they think they can buy high and all of a sudden they can snap their fingers and take profits. You have to understand this is a Ponzi scheme. Crypto's a Ponzi scheme, right? Aside from Bitcoin, even Bitcoin, it's like, it's whatever you're willing to buy for it versus someone else willing to sell for it. It's all like a speculating market. Someone's always going to buy lower than you, cheaper than you. Someone's always going to sell before you. So you have to understand that if someone's going to do that, that you have to increase your chances of making profit, which means getting out before them, which means getting in before them. So just, it's a lot of factors and variables, but I will say this, we've had now quite a few months of a downturn in the market. So even if you didn't have the time and funds to do so, say back in the early part of this year when the market was still feeling good, if this hangs around to the summer and we see even better price action, to the downside where it's better discounts for us, I would start buying crypto. I would start buying. If you're going to just sit here for 3-6 months, and just watch your crypto opportunities disappear and then come back next year and say, hey, I'm going to jump in now, you're doing exactly what you did prior, which is jumping in towards the end of 2024. So that's just the way I look at it. And when you see stuff like this, consumer confidence slid 7.2 points. Obviously, it's showing us that we're potentially entering a recession, or at the very least, more bearish price action, which is very good for a buyer's market. Obviously, not very good for the economy, but for a buyer's market. Like I said in a previous video, the last big crash we had from the previous bull cycles was the COVID crash in 2020. That was a huge buying opportunity. I was not present during that time, but it was a very good buying opportunity. So, yeah, I'm just saying, just make sure you're using your time wisely. And it says Americans' expectations for income, business, and labor market conditions in the coming year fell sharply, the lowest level in 12 years. That's insane. Meanwhile, the share of respondents expecting a recession in the next 12 months held steady in March at a 9-month high. Well, as Jerome Powell said in the last meeting, though, he thinks it went up 25% chance for recession. People are going to have different takes on this. Personally, I'm more bullish than bearish, but obviously this does play a factor. And then Trump obviously imposing 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada does cause the bulk of these concerns and fear. So-called reciprocal tariffs slated for April 2nd, which we're not far away. We're days away now, about a week away. Might be watered down. Yeah, so listen, we'll see how long he plans to keep these tariffs at bay. Again, this is all speculation. No one knows aside from Trump's inner circle, right? And even Jerome Powell doesn't know because he said in the last meeting, he's like, his hands are tied in terms of short-term moves, but he knows in the long term he wants to, obviously pivot and reduce and cut interest rates. Let's check out the M2 money supply and see what's going on there. All the way back in 1959. Let's see if we can pull it up from 2022. We'll do January and we'll do it to now. The M2 money supply, aka consumer confidence in their spending, their dollar, went down significantly from 2022, and this is when Bitcoin was around 15K, 15.5K, right? And it went all the way down. But as you can see, right around here, October 2023, it has steadily been increasing. Even today, even with the Trump tariffs in place, steadily increasing. You're not going to see this reflect in the price action now. And the next release date will be April 22nd. We'll take another look at it then. But this is obviously a good sign that the market is going to get better, because way back here, if we go even further back to 2021, let's go back in January, M2 money supply, what from the article, they said consumer spending felt very high, and they felt inflation was high, and they didn't feel confident in their dollar. This is where it was, right here. And then obviously the M2 money supply rose up significantly. And then right here, when the bull cycle ended in December, you see it starting to level out and then right back down again. This graph looks a lot like 2025, like this graph forming. US dollar is still at 104, which is pretty stable. As you can see here, not much has changed. Okay, that's good to know. Now let's get into coin market cap. Let's see the prices and we'll see if we can see any opportunities arising. So market cap is 2.8 trillion. We're not yet above 3 trillion. The fear and greed, as I said before, is steadily increasing little by little, day by day. That's good. Let's get a closer look now and let's see what's going on. Okay. So here's the market cap. So way back at the start of February, it was around 3 trillion. Let's see if we can go further back. So this is when everyone thought the bull cycle was going on and ended, right? Which you can see here, a steadily graph up, 3.5 trillion, almost 4 trillion at some point, right? And then as soon as Trump came in office, around here, this is when it went downhill. But we're still above here, which is 2.26 trillion. That was back in November, right before the election. So we have not yet fallen below this level of support yet. Okay. The overall crypto market cap cannot afford to go below 2 trillion at this stage. That will push us back into a bear market for sure. We're still above this 2.84 trillion, which is good because as you can tell here, it's still above. And this is with Trump having the tariff. This is after the whole freaking fiasco with Trump's coin, Melania coin. So this looks better than the sentiment shows in the market. If we scroll down here, Bitcoin dominance is 60.7%. Ethereum is still below 9% at 8.6%. And the altcoins, aside from Ethereum, are at roughly 31%. Let's get to the fear and greed. So we're at 34, same as yesterday. But again, we're up from last week and we're up from last month. That's good. With the M2 money supply increasing, which I showed you from last bull cycle in 2021, it looks almost identical before assets rose up significantly. I'm not shocked that the fear is moving up. We're almost in this neutral territory. And here's the chart for the last 30 days for the fear and greed. As you can see, we've been somewhat stable since, about a week ago. So since the start of the month, it's been roughly the same, kind of stable, but obviously the price of Bitcoin's been volatile, which is showing us that the investors are conditioned. Now, I'm not going to lie. Investors, and all of us feel rinsed out. We feel like we're in this huge marathon and we got hit with baseball bats. It really feels like a huge hit, and you have to be extremely confident to go forward at this point, which if you're watching, kudos to you. You're doing an amazing job. Just keep trucking along and it'll be fine. But the reality is a lot of investors are rinsed out, are shaken out, and with rightfully so. I get it. I totally get it. And when you see the altcoin season index this far down, when this is supposed to be the bull cycle, it definitely does strike a nerve. It definitely does cause people to just lose confidence in crypto. But again, when you go back to a year with the market cap now, you can see a steadily climb. And then as soon as Trump came in office, it came down. But again, we're yet to break below this. There's 2.26 trillion. Okay. And there's some support there around right below 2 trillion. So if we go below 2 trillion, that's going to be a little bit cause for concern. So I will say that, I'm going to be brutally honest there. But, we're still ways away, 2.84 trillion and the market looks pretty stable. Let's now check out some price action of Bitcoin and let's see if we can find out where it's going to go next. So Bitcoin on the 7-day chart, extremely volatile. On the month chart, though, this is where you see consolidation. Okay, this is literally consolidation from March 10th. It went up just a little bit, but it hasn't broken this 80 to, we'll say, 90K range. Okay, the top right here for this time period was 94K, but it's been consolidating at this 80 to 90K. If it stays in that range while this goes on, that's fine. If it breaks below 80K and gets to 78K again or around there, that's where people are going to get very concerned. If it goes back to 91K plus, you're going to see the reverse take place. When you zoom out to the year, you can see just like the M2 money supply and the overall market cap, we're still up. Okay, the level of support is 78K here. If we break below this and we go to 67K or below 70K, that's where the bear market's going to take place. If we hold below the previous all-time high of last cycle of 69K, it'll be back in the bear market. But, obviously it can touch base there and rebound, but that's the key number to look out for. The key number to look out for. Let's pull up Ethereum now. Ethereum is trying to hold on to above $2,000, barely. Looks like the sentiment, though, is pretty much the same despite this. 7-day chart, okay, nothing really to see here. Month chart, been trading sideways and consolidating at this 1,800 to 2,100 range. So if it falls below 1,800, we're going to be in a free fall. And if it gets anywhere close to, let's see, I mean, the 1 year on Ethereum doesn't even look good, but again, it had so much fun. If this thing falls below 1,700, yeah, that's going to be a huge buying opportunity for Ethereum, but it's going to be pretty bad for altcoins. I'll say that. That's why I say you want to be at least 50% cash, because you want to catch these dips and crashes if they happen. But just in case they don't happen, you want to DCA at these prices still if you want. I'm going to be setting limit orders very soon. Now, Solana had some bullish news. I'm going to see if I can pull it up here with BlackRock. And I want to just go over this. BlackRock's BUIDL expands to Solana as tokenized money market fund nears $2 billion. So now BlackRock is integrated with Solana, a top layer 1 chain. Very bullish for Solana. Let's get back to Solana now. Let's see where the price of Solana may be going. Last 7 days, not bad. If you go to the month chart, okay. So the 118 level looks like the level of support for Solana at the low. Prior to that, yeah. So if it holds above 118, it'll stay in this range. When you click the year chart, let's see. So it did fall below level support in 2024, which was around the 130 mark, which is kind of where it's at now. So if Solana falls below 118, I would set some limit orders for 115, 110, around there. Could it get to $100 or less? It could, but Bitcoin and Ethereum would have to tumble down just as bad. So yeah, Solana, again, when you click the month chart, this 118 to, I want to say 135 range is the level of support, although right now it's slightly above it. So that's good. Let's pull up XRP now, and we'll check out XRP. Let's go to the month. So XRP had a rally, which I imagine was because they're finally free from the SEC, which is good. Gary Gensler did enough to it already. Got to almost $3 again. Back down. It fell. Ooh, good buying opportunity right here at this 193 range. That's actually a very good buying opportunity. And then it's been trading sideways from this 223. It actually broke that level of support and went to the, let's see here. Yeah, 252, and then it's been trading sideways at this 230 mark. So I want to say around 230 to 250. Obviously, it can fall below that. I would set a limit order if I'm looking to get into XRP at $2 or less. I think XRP for the long term is going to be very good, especially now because the chains are off. Even though $2 is a very expensive XRP, which, it's over 138 billion market cap. That's not even full dilution, which is much more. It's a safe crypto, and it's backed by huge backers. And obviously, they're going to be here to stay. It's going to be it's going to be a powerhouse in the years to come. So definitely worth keeping your eye on. I would set someone orders at 210 and around that $2 mark and below if you want. Let's pull up Cardano. Cardano's at 73 cents. Okay. Let's check out some TA on this now. Had a nice run there. So it's been trading sideways from 68 cents. Yeah, it's been trading sideways for a while. So whenever you see sideways price action like this, that's where you want to buy. Okay. People typically buy on the rallies, and then on these dumps, instead of buying, they question why it's dumping. But if I'm looking at it now from March 10th until now, it's been doing nothing but trading sideways. This is a good time to accumulate Cardano. On the year chart, you can see, when it got announced the ETF for it, it ran up significantly and broke level of support, and it is now forming a new one. When you have a watch list, you can see which coins are severely getting underperformed right now versus Bitcoin, right? Nothing's performing good right now, nothing. But if you look at the watch list you have, and you're finding coins like micro caps, mid caps, and ones that aren't even on Coinbase yet, and you see them down in price, and you've done your research, this is where you can find the good opportunities, right? Just understand, you who's watching, if you buy crypto today, tomorrow, during this time, you are doing better than 95% of investors. 95%. The majority are not going to buy during this time. Just hanging in the market, just being here, just watching this video, you're in the top 10%. I cannot stress that enough. And, the more you start getting the mental strength to handle this, the better off you're going to be, and the better off you're going to feel about yourself and your portfolio as this rest of the year matures. So anyways, that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Definitely helps a lot. And I'll see you in the next video.